I don't think I'd be burned at the stake for saying Pokemon are cute, and I'd love to be able to befriend many in real life. I've had this stupid pipe dream ever since I was an idiot child. Alas, I will not forgive this world for what it owes me, but I will attempt to fill that void nonetheless. I always loved the idea of living in this world and bonding with these cute creatures in more ways than the game let me. I mainly grew up watching bits from the anime and devouring the manga, or at least what I could find from the library. I really enjoyed seeing trainers treating their Pokemon as actual friends and characters that develop together. With these forms of media being less limited than the dot matrix-ass Game Boy counterparts, it really allowed them to expand upon concepts originally so simple and underdeveloped. Many of these Pokemon were portrayed as just hanging out and walking around with their trainers in these other branches of the franchise, most notably the big cheese of the whole franchise himself. Ash's Pikachu from the anime becoming the accidental face of the series for his blatant lack of regard towards the whole Pokeball system, which I could totally get behind. Fuck Pokeballs. The first time they actually let you walk around with your Pokemon in the games was actually pretty early with Pokemon Yellow, an updated version of Red, Blue, and Green, taking a ton of influences from the anime, like missing out on your starter options because of your asshole rival and being stuck with a Pikachu that despises you when you first meet him, but grows to love you over the progression of the game. Only this specific Pikachu will follow you around, but it will respond with a wide variety of cute expressive sprites and voice clips of Pikachu from the anime. Of course, these sound bites are really crusty and really out of place, seeing how Pikachu is the only one in the game with a human voice, but it is interesting to see how this game tries to get as anime accurate as it can with both its sprites and its story beats, having Team Rocket just fucking show up once in a while and all the sprites are a little less crusty and a little less fetusy. This whole game is a bunch of really cute scripted behavior for Pikachu, and so many adorable sprites that are totally worth looking through a sprite run. One thing I didn't know about this game before is that you can actually trade away your starter Pikachu, and it's actually the only way to get the Light Ball in Gen 2, which is an item specifically made to make Pikachu not suck. When you trade this Pikachu back, it will not follow you anymore, which is really concerning. My only guess for why this might happen is the canonical time traveling between the two generations broke Pikachu's will to follow your command. You played with his heart, and now he doesn't trust you like before. Or maybe he broke his legs or something, I don't know. After Pokemon Yellow, it took a despicably long time to get any followable Pokemon back into the main series, and when we did get it back, it wasn't in the way we expected it to be. The Pokewalker was introduced, and it proved to the world that Pokemon could do a Digimon, but like lame and with walking. The Pokewalker allows you to bring your actual Pokemon from the games into real life to walk around with you, sort of. The Pokewalker as a virtual pet sim is very lacking, but as an extension of my current Pokemon Heart Gold playthrough, it's very fun. When I'm walking in real life, it's like I'm walking in a Pokemon world. I'm in the game. It's real. Fuck VR. I don't need that shit. All your Pokemon does is gain XP and make faces at you. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to be able to raise friendship too, but my Eevee is just outright fucking refused to evolve for me. I think it's personal. I don't know what his fucking deal is. Oh yeah, they also just added fully fledged following Pokemon in Heart Gold Soul Silver. This was kind of teased as a feature in Gen 4 with the Sinnoh games, but it was in a very limited capacity and with what Pokemon you can actually use, and it was only in Amity Square, so who cares? Heart Gold Soul Silver, on the other hand, supports all of the Pokemon in the decks. It would allow you to interact with them in the same way you would with Pikachu in Yellow. You know, besides the unique art and the anime cries, you can press A on their face and they make an emoji at you and they go. That's my impression of the Pokemon cries. I really do love the following sprites. They're quite silly, and I change around my team constantly just to get my other party members to follow behind me. They also tend to pick shit off the ground, but it's nothing useful, so I don't check. This feature was universally loved by everyone, so obviously the next logical step would be ignoring it completely for the next decade. Luckily, Pokemon X and Y, by extension ORAS, would introduce Pokemon Ame. This would mark the first time we've been able to pet our Pokemon. Ame was a really fun touchscreen gimmick to bring in and show off the new 3D models and animations that these games would use from this point onward. This still remains as a controversial choice to some, but I fully understand why Pokemon had to go 3D moving forward as a series with 700 plus unique characters, even if it is a bit sad. Ame was really cute and it lets you interact with your party members in ways that weren't possible before with the 2D sprites and the limited capacity on these cartridges, and the cost of making new animated sprites for every single Pokemon in every single generation. Pokemon also react differently depending on how you pet them and what Pokepuffs you feed them, both earning you different amounts of affection. You can also pet your Pokemon post-battle for that extra boost of moral support. On top of petting and feeding, you could use your 3DS's terrible camera to make faces at your Pokemon and play really mediocre minigames. There is no real hunger meter and your Pokemon won't starve or become depressed, so you can completely ignore this aspect of the game if you really wanted to. But I think it really adds a lot to how you bond with your team members and non-party members. Oh, and it's busted as hell on single player. Boosted XP, higher evasiveness, higher crit chances, shrugging off status effects like it's nothing. It's kinda extremely broken. It makes an already easy game even easier. But honestly, I love how busted high affection can be, canonizing the power of friendship and all, but I can understand why many people just think it's cheap. Oh yeah, X and Y is also the first game since Yellow to include Pikachu's anime voice. In this game, it's much less charming, seeing how Pikachu is the only one with the anime voice, and they don't follow you, so there's no real reason for them to be having the anime voice in the first place, besides, you know, the whole mascot thing. But while I'm here talking about Gen 6 Pikachu, I might as well show off cosplay Pikachu from Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. She was a gift Pokemon specifically made for the returning contests, and I'm not going to get in the contest, but affection does tie into it mechanically. Cosplay Pikachu has the ability to switch between 5 really adorable costumes with an attached exclusive move. My favorite one has to be PhD Pikachu. She's just so adorable. And I love that her pockets are just overflowing with random shit. This specific Pikachu Libre costume would also later go on to become playable fighters in Pokemon Tournament and, more importantly, Smash Brothers as a costume. You could make the argument that this is the very same cosplay Pikachu because of her irregular black-tipped hardtail that we've never seen beforehand. I would also really love this black-tipped tail variant to return. It's too cute to be forgotten. Most of the features from Pokemon Ame would transfer over into Sun and Moon's Pokemon refresh system. On top of being able to pet and feed your Pokemon, you can cure their status ailments by cleaning and grooming them, which is a useful feature that basically invalidates the need for status curing items outside of battle. The only features not returning from Ame would be the mini-games and the facial recognition, but who cares? Affection benefits seem to be even more overpowered than before, and there's also this weird slave labor berry island you could have your boxed Pokemon work on, but I really don't want to get into it. But besides that, we would have to wait for the next generation to truly innovate. Yay! More Kanto! Everyone loves Kanto, right? Everyone wanted another Kanto remake with less content than the last Kanto remake, right? No? No, this time it will be different. This time, we'll remake Yellow and split it into 2 versions to crush all the hopes and dreams for ever getting a definitive 3rd version of a game ever again. Hey, if Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee gets one thing right, it's by bringing back full following Pokemon. Again. And even letting you ride on some of them. Sure, there was some rideable Pokemon in Gen 6 and 7 before, but now it's your own Pokemon. And it's pretty damn amazing, even if it's a glorified bike reskin, but hey, won't be the last time. Similar to Pokemon Yellow, your starter isn't the usual elemental trio, but is instead Pikachu, or Eevee being your alternate version counterpart. Unlike your rival's Eevee in Yellow, and just like your Pikachu in Yellow, neither of your starter Pokemon will evolve. They sorta make up for this by having unique moves and some seriously beefy stats compared to their ordinary counterparts. You can only pet your starter, which is disappointing seeing how this game only has support for the first 151 Pokemon anyways. Having no post-game national decks, unlike Fire Red, Leaf Green. You pet your starter using the Joy-Con's gyro sensor like a Wii pointer, or by just using the touchscreen. And yeah, either way petting works well and your partner has a lot of adorable animations and responses. I'd say probably more than original Pokemon Me. You can also give them silly little hairdos by using multiple fingers on the touchscreen. I don't know why they locked it behind exclusively the handheld mode, but it isn't really that big of a deal unless you can't make up your mind for some reason. These hairstyles are cute and I love being able to have my Pokemon be a little bit more unique. From this game forward, the affection stat would be merged with the friendship stat, but that's virtually non-existent from a player's perspective, seeing how the friendship benefits are just as OP as before. Pokemon Go kinda has a petting mechanic. It's exclusively behind this weird AR mode that doesn't work most of the time, and it's pretty bad. It works for what it is, but you can't not use it in AR mode, so that sucks. I don't really care about Pokemon Go, and I'd rather move forward anyways. I have to be perfectly honest. I completely skipped playing Pokemon Sword and Shield when it came out. I know, so scandalous. But now I'm kinda sad that I missed out on seeing this game expand upon the May and refresh systems. These games added Pokemon Camp, letting you play with your whole team in the overworld. There's a bunch of cute interactions between your Pokemon, and they added new toys to have your Pokemon play with, on top of being able to pet and feed your partners. Sadly, there is no petting Pokemon post-battle like in the 3DS games. Also, funniest part about this game is that they locked following Pokemon behind DLC. Moving on, Legends Arceus was a huge step forward for the Pokemon series in so many ways, except for the one way that truly matters. There is no petting in Arceus, making this game literally unplayable. You can throw your Pokemon to break ores and shake trees, but they won't even follow you. You're even allowed to have your whole team out in dedicated spots of the map. But all you can do as the player is press A and B for positive sounding cry and negative sounding cry. But this is just a spin-off game. I can cut it some slack, even if it pains me dearly. Legends Arceus also had the wonderful idea of making your Pokemon box a physical space with the pasture. Sadly, you can't go in and hang out with your boxed Pokemon like it's Pokemon Ranch, or even choose which box is visible. Instead, it just kind of randomly swaps Pokemon out. I was really excited to play Scarlet recently when I saw that they kept the camp idea from Sword and Shield, but I think they forgot the whole appeal of it in the last game, completely removing the first-person perspective and severely limiting the interactions you can have with your Pokemon. There is no petting left whatsoever. I'm guessing to put more of a focus on the fact that breeding is done through the camp instead of having a dedicated daycare like before. But what am I even supposed to do while I'm waiting here? I can't even work towards hatching eggs in my party while waiting for new eggs like I could in the previous games. I mean, I guess I can wash my Pokemon, but you can only wash them so many times before all their fur starts, coming off. It's just like, you don't want to do that. They don't like that. They don't like when you do that. In conclusion, please let me create parasocial relationships with these creatures by deluding myself into believing that my Pokemon really love me and weren't designed to be marketable mascots bent on sucking every last cent out of my wallet.